Hi Stampers. You know what? I cannot believe that I didn't show you a card using this absolutely adorable the Gangs All Meer stamp set. I'm going to actually take this card and I'm going to change it up a bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how dang cute this stamp set is. Welcome to Stampin' with Diane. I'm Diane Evans and I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up Demonstrator. Have you got the stamp set yet? If not, you still have time. There's 1 week left in Sale-A-Bration. And in Canada, if you do spend up to $60 or $60, you can get this stamp set for free. So don't be disappointed because it is ending in 7 days. So here is what you're going to need for the card. Of course, you're going to need the Gangs All Meer stamp set. We're going to be using these stitch nested label dies. The cardstock that you're going to be using is Crumb Cake, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you're going to need a piece of basic black. And I've already gone ahead and I've cut this mat out, but the basic black is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4 in order to cut this out. Now this happens to be the second largest die cut from there. Then with the Whisper White, you're going to cut the third largest, which is this one here. And this piece of cardstock is 2.5 by 4 1/4. And then you're also going to need another piece that's 2 by 3. You're going to need some Poppy Parade, and it's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Now, we're going to be running that through, and I've already run it through the embossing folder, and that's the corrugated embossing folder. Now, I've made this a little bit longer than what this would be on the card, this card here. And the reason being for that is because when you do put it through the embossing folder, and especially with this die or this embossing folder, it does tend to shorten it up a little bit, and then we can adjust it in afterwards. So I will have to adjust that in a bit. And then also you are going to need just a scrap piece of Poppy Parade. Okay, so let's get started on this. Now first of all, this is going to go on here, and you can see that it is a bit longer. Now, as I always do, I am going to put this on with tear and tape because of the grooves and everything else. I could do it with the Tombow liquid glue, but glue and myself are not getting along lately. The other day I actually did something with the glue, and I had it all over the place and I just couldn't get it off. So I'm just going to put that onto the front of the card, and then I'm going to bring in my little trimmer and fix that up. There we go. Now I know when I see how I make up with this one, because I do know that I've got a double piece here, and that's only because I tore it off in the middle. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then I'm just going to decide where I want that on this card. I'm going to do it right about, no, maybe just over just a bit more. There we go. And like I say, I've got this tiny little bit here. So I'm just going to bring in the little mini stamping trimmer. This is the one that you can get for free by joining Stampin' Up. So I'm just going to put this in. Now I know I've got some tear and tape on there, so I just want to make sure that I've got that good and even there, and I'm just going to push this down. There we go. Had to go through that tear and tape. Okay, so let's get rid of that so it doesn't stick all over the place. Remember, you can get this for free if you do sign up for being a demonstrator, but only up to March 31st. Okay, so we've got that there. So let's get some stamping done. I am going to stamp these meerkats, and we're going to stamp it with Memento ink. Now I'll be able to see that because you can see with the Whisper White, it's a totally different white than you can for your printer paper or the other paper that you can get from the stores. So make sure that we get this down far enough and kind of in the middle. I think that should do it. Just let the paper kind of absorb the ink there. I could have put this on my Stamparatus to make sure that I got it completely inked, but I did okay. And then what we're going to do with this other spare piece is I am going to cut, or I'm going to stamp another set of them. There we go. Now, while I've still got my ink and everything out, I have this little guy right here, so I'm actually going to put him just in the inside of this card, just like that. Now, if I wanted to, I could have put a layer in the card as well, but I didn't. Then, one more thing to stamp, and that's going to be this sentiment here. We're here for you. So let me just stamp that right like that. Okay. That's basically the stamping on this stamp set. Now, what's going to happen is this is going to go on here like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to fussy cut. Yep, I'm fussy cutting. And I'm going to color certain ones of those. So let's get coloring. Now there's only two real colors. I did bring in the bronze color, but there's only the light and the dark crumb cake. And on the bronze, I did use it for a tiny bit of my coloring. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to take this one here. And because I'm actually, this is the light, that's the dark. That won't matter too much. Okay, so I'm just going to take the light crumb cake and I'm just going to color these because see on this card here, see how I've raised it up a bit? So I'm just, because with raising it, I just want some color behind these other mirror cats here. And it's really just this one that we have to really be different with our coloring. So I'll just do him first. And I came in with my dark crumb cake and highlighted certain parts. Now, shadowing more on this side. And then just going back over with my light crumb cake. Now, if I wanted to, I could have used, to get a bit more definition, I could have used the bronze. Blend, but I didn't find that it made that much difference. So I'm just going to do that. And then, like I say, I'm going to go back in and just quickly color these because it's going to show on the card, underneath the card with the dimensionals. And I'm not being that fussy with it. Like I say, I just want some color behind it so that it doesn't, you don't see the white behind there. Okay, now the other thing is I did go ahead and did color this part. And then I also went in with the dark as well. And then let's just go over with the light again. I should maybe put these just like that. Okay, then on this piece here, this is where I actually colored. I didn't need to color this guy. And the reason I didn't need to is because I'm not going to pop him up, but I chose to pop up these 4 here. So I'm going to use the brush end. And again, all we're doing is covering that surface. And I'm going to do 2 at a time because they're pretty small images here. Now remember, a light hand is really, really important with the coloring. Putting my shading on this side. Then we're going to go back in with the narrower tip and work in the circles. Now when I'm doing this, I'm using a light hand, but I'm also going to leave some certain white spaces. And they don't look, they're not that noticeable, but it gives you a 3rd color of the crumb cake is what it's actually doing for you. So there we've got those 2. Pretty simple coloring. This is probably one of the easiest coloring images that you could do to get used to doing the shading and everything else with that. Jeez, I love these expressions on these guys. They're priceless. And let's do this. Look at this guy. He's so funny. Yeah, it's actually, if you're in a group of people, which of course we can't be at this point right now, but if you're in a group of people, if you look around, you probably see a lot of these different sort of expressions on people. I know this was kind of the theme at our on stage that we were at. And then just go back in with this. I'm going to leave his teeth. And see, I've left more of a white space there. Oops, and then we just go here. And like I say, then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to, whoops, I want to put some dark here too. Oops. And then just do that. Now, if you don't do the white space, you can come in with your lifter and do that as well. You'll get the same sort of effect, but I like to just leave it where it's dark. So now what I've done is I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually put this onto this piece here. There is a right and a wrong side to those. And again, I'm using tear and tape because it's hitting in on the embossing folder. Don't want this piece to come off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our paper snips and we are going to fussy cut these out. Now what you can do with this is you can fussy cut this piece together and then this piece separately. One thing I'm doing that I don't normally do when I fussy cut is I am going right to the edge. And remember to turn the paper. Now because of this video, I've gone ahead and already cut those out, so I'll bring those in. So there's that guy there, and then there's this guy here. Now I've also gone ahead and put the mini dimensionals on there. I might have done dimensional overload, kind of think I did, but that's okay. And then also this one. Now what we want to do is I want to take this and we're going to cut this out like this. And I'm actually just going to cut this word because I want to cut this like, and then I'm going to individually put these pieces on. So I've also gone ahead and cut that out. So I'll show you how I've done that. Is I've cut this piece out like this. See that? And then I've also cut the U and 4 there. Okay, so we're going to put those, and I've also popped those up with dimensionals as well. So, and all we're going to do is put that onto the front of this card. So really, it's probably the fussy cutting that's the most intricate, or maybe the coloring, but the coloring is, like I say, it couldn't be more simpler coloring, and this is the perfect stamp set to actually practice on coloring stamps, or coloring certain things. Now you notice when I cut this out, I didn't cut out the hair. I left the hair behind, so it's giving that dimension there. And then we just put this on here. And yes, I cut out the tails. So that. And then with this part, I am going to, and I used the black dimensionals on here just because it was a darker color. And this is just going to go where? Here. 4. Oops. 4. And U. And then I thought, well, you know what? I could probably do something else with that. So what I've done is I took my rhinestones, whoops, and I colored them with just a regular black Sharpie. And it looks like I've lost some of those rhinestones off of there, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to put this down here, and this is just going to be a tiny bit different than what I would normally do. Just like, I guess I could have actually changed those up a little bit, but I thought that would look kind of neat. Anyways, or maybe I could put them along the bottom. Let's see. There. That's probably better than going straight down. I thought that would look kind of neat, but kind of don't like it. So there's the Gangs All Meer. Just changed it up a little bit. I kind of like this one more just because of the different over there. I thought this one was kind of plain, but that one's really kind of cool, right? So like I say, Sale-A-Bration is only there for 1 week. If you like this, please go down and put something in the comments. Give me a heart. Also, give me a thumbs up. And better yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's down below on YouTube. And I will also give you a link. And as far as those measurements, they'll be on my blog as well. There'll be a link that goes to that. So if you do need any of these supplies and live in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator. If you do do any orders online, there is this hostess code, and with that, using that hostess code, I'm sending away a tutorial. And this month it's on flowers, and there's over 14 items in there for the tutorial. But anyways, I really do appreciate you stopping by. Have a great day and be safe. Bye for now.